the revolutionarily designed Canberra on her first visit to this coast, and she carries the first boatload of vacationing Britishers coming here in support of President Kennedy's program to draw overseas tourists to the United States. The radical placing of the smokestacks and hence engines aft the stern allows so much more cabin room that the Canberra can accommodate more people than any liner afloat. Now she's carrying 1,700 of them and will be their hotel during their 3-day holiday in New York. Later in the month, she'll bring over another load who will be equally welcome visitors to this country.
Good morning from Southampton Water, where the liner Canberra, all 45,000 tons of her, back from the South Atlantic. A cruise which has lasted 3 months. She sailed from Southampton on Good Friday, April the 9th, and now she's back on June the 11th. And the rust is showing through her paint. That's what the South Atlantic has done to her, although miraculously she has no other damage. On board, 2,500 Royal Marines, 4-0 Commando, 4-2 Commando, and half of 4-5 Commando, back from the fighting in the Falklands. And it must be said that much of Southampton has gone down the water to bring her home. Everything's here, motor yachts, sailing yachts, ferries. Everybody who can has gone down to bring the Canberra home. And as the mist has risen this morning, so Southampton can see Canberra, and Canberra can see Southampton. And this is what every man on board has been waiting for. And on shore, their families are waiting, families of the Marines, families of the crew. And the 400 crew who went, every man of her crew volunteered to go, all 900, only 400 were needed. And their families are here, and every man on board seems to have a fan club. Canberra making good time. This is, after all, a military operation. Steaming up Southampton Water to berth 106 in the West Docks. It's almost like the first Cunadas, the great ships arriving in the Hudson River, having crossed the Atlantic. But now it's a wave. Every bit of bunting for 20 nautical miles around is being pressed into service. The flags are up, helicopters crossing the scene. Fire ships play as the Canberra comes home. South Atlantic, 8,000 miles away, when she came under attack by the Argentine Air Force on May the 21st in San Carlos Water.
She soon lost her cruise liner crisp white coat. The ravages of the South Atlantic saw to that, as did the comings and goings of scores of ships, landing craft, pontoons and helicopters. But far from being the odd one out, Canberra became the favourite of the fleet. She quickly learned how to replenish at sea, keep in close convoy, go through anti-submarine manoeuvres, and even to defend herself with machine guns mounted on the rails where not so long ago passengers had lolled sipping cocktails. Her new passengers caused many changes inside too, but I never found a man with a harsh word for the ship that became affectionately known as the White Whale. When those passengers left, it was for war in landing craft for HMS Fearless. They went to the assault ship 2 days before D-Day, and ironically it was those who stayed aboard Canberra who were saying I wouldn't be in their shoes for anything. While the Marines and Paras could only watch helplessly from ashore, Canberra was subjected to wave after wave of attacks from Argentine jets. Bombs landed close, and it was later discovered that an Exocet missile had been aimed at her but had been deflected. This Mirage jet lobbed its bomb load at Canberra, but that day and for the rest of the campaign, her luck was in. The jets that caused such havoc amongst the warships missed the Canberra, although how, nobody will ever know. mirage and another bomb. The 21st of May will be best remembered as D-Day, when the British returned to the Falklands. But for the Canberra and her crew, it was the day they survived against all the odds.
The way that the P&O worked with the Royal Navy in this particular operation. But it's not anything except one would expect, because you look back at the war of 1939-45, the Merchant Navy and the Royal Navy were always very close. But it was a magnificent effort by the Merchant Navy Ships Company, and I'm proud to have been on Canberra during this operation.
And the band plays on, and on board, that's just what they want to hear. This is the moment that they have all waited for and dreamed of, and it's the moment perhaps they didn't dare to dream of when they set sail. Used to troop ships leaving Bombay and coming home, but this must be the most celebrated homecoming of all. Here they come as another gangway goes in, and the commanders now come off.
There's Major Peter Cameron, and we have Colonel Eve there. This is Colonel Paul Stevenson.
He looks as if he's going to yomp his way home.
Maybe he is. There they go. This is the brigade commander's party with the COs, you see, walking down. This is the youngest man, I suspect, 45 Commander, who is being invited to go first. As I told you earlier on, and indeed you heard, he will be part of 401 passengers going to Eastleigh and then flying up to our berths today. Great moment, a really great moment. Look at him, he's proud as punch, isn't that nice?
He's as proud as punch, and he hears the cheers.
Moment for you. Well, it takes some beating, the reception we got coming back.
Fantastic.
Quite overwhelming.
What's it like to have him back?
It's absolutely
Thank you.
marvellous.
Welcome home.
Well, everyone gets a rose, even if he puts it in his teeth. Well, I think there's probably an opera about that. Anyhow, 4-5 Commando, their fathers, sailed from Warsash here in Southampton water to Normandy. Bardo, and people smiled and waved and said that they were confident, but deep down inside they may not have known that. So what they didn't know, but what they all expected, was that they would in fact take Port Stanley.
Come on, let's do it.
So they were in Port Stanley, and now they're in Southampton. Well, I wonder what they expected to find in Port Stanley. Now, of course, they know what to expect. And they're like, this is 4-5 coming off, and they, of course, are going to fly up to Canberra. There are some people here in Southampton. I was talking to a family just last night who had come down to see their son. But by and large, their reception will be up north. And it will, with them and with all of us, there will be the recollection of the past and of those who will not return. To them, the honour and the pride of their families. To these men, honour and pride and lives to begin again. But for the moment, as all Southampton can testify, Canberra and Canberra's men are home.